mental health, especially in the Black neighborhood, is somewhat inconceivable and rarely, if often or ever, even discussed. Let's talk about mental health in the Black community. Today, we have a specialist on the phone, and we'd love to get more information about it. Jared Z, let's talk about it.
Get a little bit of gasoline. Welcome to another episode.
This is the
I'm
614.
gonna set
Sunday
your
Black.
face
See, we
on
got
fire.
one. Yeah.
Let's
what
get
up?
higher.
Let's go. Fiat cash, cryptocurrency, State of the Union. This is Black man urgency. This is for God. This is for green. Black fist in the air. If you ever had a dream, hey, what he do? What he say? What they talk about today? Keep it close to the kings. Circled around you. Now that was for dinner. Pay the chef at the kitchen. When men talk, you need to listen.
Hello, everybody. Guess what? This is season 2 of When Men Talk. This is important. Let me tell you why. Because when I say this is season 10, we're going to recognize and remember this point right here. Because when men talk,
you might just want to listen.
Yes.
Love it. I love it. Thank you for all the subscribers and attentiveness to the important discussion today. Mental health, especially in the Black neighborhood, is somewhat inconceivable and rarely, if often or ever, even discussed. Daniel Prude's death at the hands of Rochester, New York police in early 2020 represents a microcosm of the realities of mental health care access within the Black community. Law enforcement is often the first point of care for those in mental health emergencies, with most Americans reflexively calling 911 for assistance. This in part is why in 44 states, jails and prisons treat more serious mental health illnesses than their largest remaining psychiatric hospitals. Law enforcement's function as a stopgap for mental health care access has deadly consequences. Approximately 25% of fatal police shootings involve signs of mental illness. Furthermore, according to the FBI, forced data collection in 2019, 54% of people who died as a result of harm from police and whose race was identified were people of color. Let's talk about mental health in the Black community. Today, we have a specialist on the phone, and we'd love to get more information about it. Jared Z, let's talk about it.
Yes, let's talk.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump this over to you, Jared. You know, I just know it's Mental Health Awareness Month, man. So hey, let's just jump right into it.
Sounds good to me. Sunday, I am so glad that you mentioned law enforcement and mental health, because I'm hoping that within this series on mental health, we're going to have someone from law enforcement on the call with us who is fighting in their county to do a mental health unit, because in Rockdale County, they truly believe that a lot of individuals that get locked up, it's only because there's not facilities and hospitals that are willing to take them and treat them. So we're going to discuss that with somebody who's trying to fight that battle. But for right now, we have Dr. Frances with us. She's a family counselor, and let's bring her in so that we can have this conversation. Dr. Frances, how are you?
I am excellent. Thank you for having me.
No, it's our pleasure, and we all appreciate. Please say hello to my co-host, Sunday Black, Charles Hill, Mr. 614, and Mr. Xeron Pledger. We are all here, and we are so thankful that you're joining us. So why don't we first take this opportunity to have you say hello to everybody, first and foremost.
Hi, hello, everyone.
Oh, sister.
Hello, and thank you. I thank you, men, for leading this.
Being here. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Men need to lead, in partnership with women. But I guess we can get into it later. But there's something missing. Something isn't working in our community. A lot of it is our men need to remember who they are. And so we can talk a little bit about that, I guess.
Oh, we can. Most definitely. So tell us about your practice. Tell individuals who are listening how to reach you, and hopefully somebody can knock that in our chat, and we'll start off like that. Okay.
I am actually in Cobb County in Smyrna. My service is called Atlanta Vinings Counseling Service, 1260 Concord Road, avc.counseling@gmail.com, and my number is 678-426-8848. I have been in this business for over 20 years. I have two lives. I'm a school counselor, so I see children in the school setting, elementary, all the way up to high school. So I see how they behave in the school setting. And I'm also in private practice where I see children and adults and families, and see trends, and see grief, pain, see lack of forgiveness, see loneliness, or anxiety has become our friend, our frenemy, and depression. A lot of it for our people. I think we've forgotten our history, forgotten who we are, and I really feel that the family is under siege. And what are we born into? A family, and ideally three people. And so if one person isn't there, and it's unbalanced, and our society has encouraged women to feel awesome and empowered to go it alone. But do they really want to do it? Are they really happy? It's very difficult. I was raised by a single mother. It was very, very difficult. She had to do it. And I saw what it did to our family, and as the eldest child to me. And that led me to my study of girls and their fathers, how it affected me when my father wasn't there, and how it made me kind of shaky inside. And then I've seen, because I've seen it in the children at school, I can tell which child doesn't have a father at home, which girl in particular. And then, I started to look at boys as well. But initially, my research was on girls and their fathers. And I did presentations and so on this, youth at risk conferences and in the Caribbean conferences and so on, and locally too. But I feel it's a mistake to feel that we can go it without the fathers. I think it's a mistake. And life happens. Sometimes the relationship doesn't work out. But we really want people to co-parent, mother and father, to try to figure it out. My own mother was very angry, and she wouldn't allow co-parenting. So I saw how her rage kept my father away. Now, he wasn't all that great, but I feel like if she had been able to, if she had the capacity to forgive him and could encourage them in our lives, we would have not struggled so much, nor would she. But for another story. All that being said, I've been married for 33 years and have 3 children, and I love our people because I think we're special people. Ready to survive the Middle Passage.
There we go. All right. So who wants to jump in? Anybody got some questions?
If I could, I just want to ask you, based upon that story, Dr. Francis, that you got me thinking a whole bunch of different things, but I really just want to start out with, how did you get into this space? Like, what interests you? How did you make your way to this space? Because this is heavy stuff, right? And I'm sure you deal with a lot of stuff, a lot of conversation like that. And I'm just interested, how did you get into this field?
Well, I believe in spirituality, and I'm not talking Christianity. I'm talking about knowing that there's something beyond us, higher being. I believe that. And so growing up, I was very conscious of that my mother struggling to take care of us. This is in the Caribbean, but the story is replicated here and all over. And I remember thinking sometimes, what is love? What is this all about? What is a relationship between a man and a woman? What is this? What does it mean? Because there was so much anger that my mother had, and depression too. She would just sleep. And now, as a trained professional, I know it was depression. I didn't know. Let's thought, Mommy is sleeping again, and nobody disturbs her. So it was like kind of, she'd get up in a rage. So what led me to this? I was just very conscious of pain, and how children suffer, and how they become broken grown-ups who have difficulty connecting with somebody else because they haven't dealt with their own pain. And forgiveness is huge. And it's not forgetting, but forgiving and deciding to move on. You know, and the person who needs to be forgiven, make reparation, move on. So that led me into psychology. My first degree is in English literature, and that was a lot of reading and thinking about people, because what do you do in literature but analyze characters and their motivations? And then that led me to psychology, and ultimately to do my master's and my master of education in psychology, counseling psychology in New York, and into my dissertation looking at girls and their fathers. Specifically just pinpointing that because I saw a trend, and I was kind of startled as to how I could tell that a girl didn't have her father in her life. I thought, let's see if I'm just making this up. But I wasn't. The story is the same. Fathers make girls feel safe. Fathers make the home safe. And it's not just physically safe, but it's a kind of anchoring. You know, my daddy will take care of me. And when father isn't there, mommy tries, but mommy has a different role, you know. So I wound up in this field, and I do see it as a ministry to help with healing in our community.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, most definitely. All right. So here's my question. And I'm going to go back to the top of when you started speaking and the empowerment of males in our community. Or the what's the opposite of empowering?
Emasculation.
There you go. There you go. The demasculation of the Black male in our community. Please touch on that, and touch on it from a perspective of recognizing it and us also not recognizing it, and how that's affecting us personally.
Mm-hmm. It's really complicated. And a simple example, this morning I was rushing to my other world, it was in the school, and everybody was driving so slowly, I was irritated. See, a police car was up front, he was taking his own time. Nobody dared pass him. And I thought, holy smokes, I'm gonna be late. And so this police officer in his car cruising had the whole traffic behind him. And to me, that was power. And no Black man dare pass him, right? Because they'd be going faster than him, and there might be a light. I didn't try it because I thought, I work in the school, it doesn't matter. I'm a Black woman, I can get a ticket for no reason at all. So I was late. But all that to say, and another example is of my husband going in the elevator in New York. Now he's a financial analyst. Went in the elevator, and a white woman, she clutched her purse and pulled it from him. And he was so furious because all she sees a Black man, and she already a stereotype of, you don't want nothing in her purse. But that really infuriated him because she didn't see him as a man. She saw him as a criminal, thief, all those things. Feel the pressure on Black men is extremely great. And I do admire men who have been able to just keep going, doing the right thing, keep going. I feel a lot of the men who do this know themselves, know their history, know who they are, know the other men in their lives who have managed, you know, the men who would run from the plantation to find their families miles and miles away just to see their families who were sold away, right? We're the ones who survived the Middle Passage. I don't know if any other group would. And our men have been under siege. In many media, social media, that's a whole nother conversation too. Social media, what it has done to our men.
Many would say that happened so long ago. Why are we still discussing this? How does it still have effects on individuals? What do you say to that?
Yeah, well, I would say, how is it other groups remember their history and are informed by their history? Why can't we do the same? Jewish people, they don't let us forget the Holocaust. And theirs was a beginning and an end. Ours was 400 years of torture, domestic terrorism. And when we think about African-American families that had to flee the South to go to the North because of the lynchings and just being assaulted. If you read The Warmth of Other Suns, the writer does a wonderful job of tracing the families having to flee to go up north. Toni Morrison, in an interview, talked about her this is her mother's mother, yes, leaving to go, I think it was to Ohio from the South, because they couldn't be here any longer. And the mother said, look, the white boys are circling. We got to get out of here.